Welcome to Cooking with Cornfield Bigfoot. I'm your host, Peter Hines, but you all know me as Cornfield Bigfoot. I'm a Bigfoot of a man from the cornfields of Indiana, and I care about my planet. So a few years ago, I started cooking completely plant-based. And that's why I'm doing this show, is to bring plant-based to the people. I'm using all regular items you can find at the grocery stores, making all the favorites that you've always eaten. Cooking with Cornfield Bigfoot. Today, we're going to be making burritos. Just regular, straight up burritos. Because who doesn't love a good burrito? And they're so easy to make. We're going to be, obviously, tortillas. We're going to be using soy chorizo from Trader Joe's. And let me tell you, even the meat-based version is not better than this. This stuff is mwah. So even if you're not completely plant-based, I would use that to replace your meat anyway, because the flavor is so much better and the texture's right there. We're also going to use potatoes in it, which is kind of a traditional Mexican staple. Plus, it also is just a nice, easy extra filler in there. And then we're going to top it off with some veggies. And we've got the Violife. Did I say that right, producer Marta? Violife. Getting the thumbs up. The Mexican style shreds, they melt down real good. And I love the guajillo salsa. It has just a nice little smokiness into it. And of course, this is Cooking with Cornfield Bigfoot. And I like to pair it with some beers. We're gonna go with one of my favorite IPAs from one of my first favorite breweries when I got into craft brews, Great Divide here in Denver, Colorado. And I mean, what goes better with a little bit of spice than a nice hearty IPA? And they named it Titan, so of course it's hearty. All right, guys, let's get over to the kitchen. All right, let's start with the potatoes, because they're gonna take the longest to cook. If you've watched any of my videos before, rectato it. It's so much easier to cut. You can get through all of it at once instead of having to cut each individual part. And then the serrano, I like to dice finely because we will throw that in while it's cooking. It kind of sautés, the spice evenly mixes, and kind of will dull down just a little bit, just like the slices we're making. Now, please wash your hands after cutting spicy peppers. If you learn nothing else from my videos, it's do not touch your eyes after you cut spicy peppers, or please, any other sensitive parts on your body, even if you have to pee. Make sure you wash your hands first. All right, with that out of the way, we're gonna go back to the cooking. Now, with this one, I'm gonna do a mix of olive oil and coconut oil because when cooking potatoes, they can kind of soak up some of the oils. You use a lot. I like to have a nice little healthier mix with the coconut. And then go ahead and mix in some hot sauce. That's going to give them a little bit of the saltiness you want. The hot sauce already has the salt. You don't have to add extra. And it'll give it just a little flavor and spice. That way, it's just not a boring potato when you put it in the burrito.
Now, make sure you keep your potatoes on a medium heat. They're going to cook slowly. We want to get them a little browned. You don't want to go too hard on them. Now we're going to head back to the chopping board. We're going to go ahead and get those veggies chopped up. Obviously, with avocados, if you haven't messed with them, that core can be a problem. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was to just slam your knife into it and twist, and it should pop right out. If it doesn't, you don't have a ripe avocado yet, so put that thing back. Get your tomato diced up. You want some thin cut red onion. And then, when it comes to cilantro, first off, tastes like soap for you, just leave it out. I'm not getting into this fight. But when it comes to the best flavor of the cilantro, the most potent parts of it are actually in the stem. I know they're not the pretty parts. It doesn't mean we're not going to use any leaves. As you can see here, we're still going to make it nice and pretty. But that strong, wonderful cilantro flavor comes in from the stem. Now, back to the potatoes. Make sure you keep turning them. And when you start to notice that they are getting that light brown, it's going to be time for us to add our chorizo. So I'm just using a half packet. You can use the whole thing. If you want a meaty burrito, please, by all means, go for it. But here I go. And I just like to slice the sleeve, and we're going to slip slide in the chorizo. There it is. Get it all mixed up. And we're going to go ahead and just let that sit in there, cook, make sure you're turning occasionally. But we want that to get kind of lightly browned. We don't want this to finish cooking yet, because when it gets to looking like it does right here, and make sure you sip a good beer too, by the way. When it gets to looking right here, where it's a little browned up, but you still need to have a little more cook on the other side when you flip it, that's when we're adding our serrano in. Because it's going to cook the least. You only want it to cook for about, 4 or 5 minutes, whatever. It's going to spread that spice around. A little bit's going to cook off. It's just going to be a nice, wonderful flavor spreading into the potatoes in your chorizo. Now, when you think you're done, we're not. Time to get a little cheesy. Yeah, that's right. We're going to put those Mexican-style shreds right in there. The other benefit of doing this way, let it melt in. It's going to make it so much easier when you're stuffing your burritos. Yeah, I know. It's genius. You don't have to worry about little bits falling out. This cornfield Bigfoot guy, I've got you. You can also just use the ambient heat from the skillet to warm your tortillas, because you definitely want to warm them. You don't want to work with a stiff, rigid tortilla. You gotta, like, before going for a run or playing basketball, you gotta warm it up. All right, now head on over to the station. We're gonna go ahead and put these all together. Look how good that is. We're gonna put some avocado in there, and then it's gonna give it a nice little creaminess. I'm just using quarter here. Honestly, not my best spread job here, but it's so much harder when you're trying to record it for video. Then we're going to get this cilantro. Look how pretty this is looking. This is probably the best looking meal that I will make in this whole series. And then a little guajillo. It's going to add some smokiness, kind of give you like a chipotle-like flavor.
And there you have it. We've got delicious looking burritos. I'm not the best roller, so we're just going to eat it right now. Boom. Oh. Very easy to make. Make it for your family, make it for a date, make it for yourself. Thank you for cooking with Cornfield Bigfoot.